There's something quietly extraordinary happening inside you right now. In every single cell of your body, there is a code humming, pulsing, listening, like an antenna tuned to signals most of us have been taught not to hear. We walk around believing we're small, ordinary, fragile. Yet the truth is far stranger. You carry within you the same kind of technology that ancient civilizations once treated as sacred, the same living mechanism that connects your mind not only to your body, but also to the entire fabric of the universe. Here's the challenge. You've been trained to forget. The modern world has hypnotized us into thinking we're only flesh and bone, subject to chance, accidents, and genetic inheritance. You were taught that your DNA is just a biological instruction manual and that most of it is useless junk. You were told that thoughts are private and emotions are fleeting. But what if none of that is true? What if your DNA is not just a set of biological instructions, but an antenna, an interface between your consciousness and reality itself? What if your emotions, your focus, your state of awareness are the true remote controls of your biology and your destiny? The ancient challenge. Think of the pyramids of Egypt, perfectly aligned with the stars. Think of the Vedic masters who spoke of sound and vibration as the foundation of existence. Think of the Gnostics who described the human body as a vessel for divine light. These traditions didn't treat the body as a machine. They saw it as a receiver and transmitter of cosmic frequencies. But something happened. These teachings were pushed aside, sometimes even destroyed, replaced with belief systems that made you feel dependent on external authorities. Religion told you the divine was far away. Science told you consciousness was just a byproduct of neurons. The education system told you to obey and repeat rather than question and explore. The result? Billions of people living as if they were powerless, when in fact they are carriers of one of the most advanced technologies in existence, human consciousness encoded in living DNA. The hidden antenna. Let's pause here. Inside every cell, there are about 3 billion letters of genetic code. Science admits that it understands only a tiny fraction of what this code does. The rest has been labeled junk. But ask yourself, would nature waste 98% of its masterpiece? Would evolution maintain billions of useless sequences? Or are they dormant channels, waiting for the right frequency to activate? When you feel sudden intuition, when you sense someone is about to call before they do, when you experience synchronicity that feels impossible to explain, your body's hidden antenna is at work. It's receiving information from a field that transcends space and time. Modern physics calls it the quantum field, an ocean of possibilities. Ancient texts called it the Akashic record, the primordial sound, the universal mind. Different names, same reality. The prison of smallness. And yet, here we are. Most people are stuck in a prison made not of walls, but of beliefs. The belief that I am my body. The belief that I can't change my genes. The belief that I'm limited by circumstances. This prison is reinforced every day by headlines that spread fear, by systems that thrive on control, by industries that profit from keeping us dependent. And here's the emotional cost. You feel small when you are not. You feel separate when you are not. You feel powerless when, in truth, every thought you sustain is shaping your biology and feeding into the collective field of humanity. This disconnection creates frustration. You sense there is more to life, but you can't quite put it into words. You feel restless, as though something inside you is asleep. And maybe, late at night, you wonder why you're here at all. The science that confirms the mystery. For centuries, the world was split in two. Science on one side, spirituality on the other. But that division is collapsing. Physics has shown us that the observer changes the observed, that particles exist in multiple states until measured, that reality itself depends on consciousness. Biology has shown us that gene expression is not fixed but responsive, influenced by environment, behavior, and even emotion. This is the field of epigenetics, proof that you are not condemned by your DNA, but guided by it, shaped by how you live and how you feel. And yet, even this is only half the story, because the environment that changes your genes isn't just food, air, or lifestyle. It is also the invisible climate of your mind. Thoughts are chemicals, emotions are frequencies. Together, they create a field around you, and your DNA listens. Gratitude strengthens your immune system. Chronic fear triggers disease. Love lengthens your cellular life. Stress accelerates aging. These are not poetic ideas, they are measurable facts. And they confirm what ancient traditions whispered all along. You are far more than biology. You are consciousness commanding biology. The point of awakening. Here's where the challenge turns personal. Knowing this truth is not enough. It has to be lived. The reason monasteries, shamans, and mystics could do what looked impossible, healing with touch, seen across time, manifesting realities, was not because they had something you don't. It's because they dared to remember who they were. The difference between them and the billions living asleep is simple. They knew they were antennas of the infinite. They practiced tuning themselves to higher frequencies, through meditation, through ritual, through focused intention. They lived in alignment with what you might call the law of vibration, the understanding that everything moves, everything vibrates, and your state determines what you attract, perceive, and create. The first step back. So where do you begin? Not with superstition, not with chasing miracles. You begin by turning inward and paying attention to your own state. Close your eyes for a moment. Instead of thinking about what you don't have, feel the reality of what you choose to live, not as a fantasy, but as a frequency you are tuning into. When you breathe slowly and hold the emotion of joy, gratitude, or love, your DNA begins to reconfigure. Your heart rhythm shifts into coherence. Your nervous system calms. Your cells receive the signal, we are safe, we are thriving, we are in harmony. This is not positive thinking. This is consciousness technology, and every person has access to it. A call to reflection. The truth is both thrilling and terrifying. You are not waiting for power to arrive. You've always had it. The only question is whether you'll keep believing the hypnosis of limitation or begin experimenting with the possibility that your inner state is not just personal, but cosmic. Every ancient text hinted at this. Every modern discovery points to it. And every fiber of your being is wired for it. So I ask you, when you wake tomorrow morning, will you continue tuning your inner antenna to frequencies of fear and scarcity? Or will you, even for a few breaths, choose the frequency of creation, abundance, and unity? Because whether you're aware of it or not, your DNA is listening. Breaking the spell of limitation. There's a strange irony about human life. We live surrounded by infinite possibilities, yet most of us act as if we're trapped in a narrow hallway with no doors. The spell of limitation is so convincing that even when life gives us glimpses of something more, a sudden synchronicity, an unexplainable intuition, we dismiss it as coincidence. Why? Because we've been trained to forget our own technology. Think back to childhood. You probably remember moments where imagination felt real. A simple game could transform a room into a castle. A wish felt powerful enough to change the world. But slowly, the system stepped in. School taught you facts, but dismissed wonder. Authority figures told you to grow up, to be realistic. Media amplified fear and comparison. By the time you reached adulthood, the invisible programming was complete. You began to believe that your mind had no real power, that life was happening to you, not through you. The emotional result is subtle but devastating. Many live with a quiet heaviness, a sense of being smaller than they secretly feel. This gap between inner knowing and outer belief creates restlessness, frustration, and often a search for escape through distraction, consumption, or constant busyness. But the truth hasn't disappeared. It only lies beneath the noise. How the control matrix works. Every society is built on stories. The most powerful story of the last few centuries has been materialism, the belief that only what can be measured is real. It gave us technology and progress, but it also came with chains. If consciousness is just a byproduct of neurons, then your inner life has no real power. If DNA is fixed, then you're at the mercy of your genes. If the universe is a mechanical machine, then miracles are impossible. These stories keep entire populations docile. Industries profit when you believe you're broken. Governments thrive when you believe you're powerless. Religions grow when you believe the divine is outside of you. The deeper tragedy is that this programming has emotional consequences. Fear becomes the default vibration. Anxiety about money, health, and survival keeps the nervous system in constant tension. And fear is the lowest frequency you can live in. It closes the antenna, reduces coherence, and cuts off access to the very capacities that could free you. What really happens inside? When you live in fear or scarcity, your body interprets it as danger. Stress hormones flood your system, inflammatory genes turn on, healing shuts down. But when you shift into love, gratitude, or calm focus, the opposite happens. Healing genes activate, your heart enters rhythm, and your cells reorganize around harmony. This is not mystical exaggeration. Epigenetics has proven that emotions change gene expression. Studies on meditation show longer telomeres, stronger immune response, and even changes in brain structure. You literally sculpt your biology with your state of being. And yet, the doorway is simple. The key is not trying harder, but remembering differently. Practical step: retuning your inner antenna. Start small. Each morning, before touching your phone or stepping into the day, close your eyes and breathe slowly. Ask yourself one question: what frequency will I tune into today? Don't answer with words, feel it. If you choose gratitude, recall a moment that genuinely warmed your heart. If you choose peace, imagine your body sinking into calm waters. Hold the feeling for just 2 minutes. In that short time, your DNA begins to respond. Your nervous system resets. The junk code that listens to frequency begins to tune itself differently. You start the day not as a passive receiver of fear, but as an active transmitter of coherence. Over time, this daily practice becomes a shield. Life will still bring challenges, but you won't collapse into them. Instead, you'll feel a subtle strength, a sense that your inner state is shaping your outer reality. Reflection. The spell of limitation is strong, but it is not unbreakable. The more you choose coherence over fear, the more you weaken the old story and strengthen a new one. And every time you shift, you add that frequency to the collective field, making it easier for others to remember too. So tonight, as you close your eyes, ask yourself, am I living as a victim of the story I was given, or as an antenna transmitting the reality I choose? Living as conscious technology. By now, the idea may feel less abstract. Your DNA is listening. Your emotions are programming. Your consciousness is the true driver. But the question remains, how do you live this truth consistently, not just as a passing thought, but as a way of being? The answer is both simple and demanding. You live as if your inner state is more important than outer appearances. The challenge of consistency. It's easy to feel expanded during meditation or while reading words like these. The challenge comes when the world presses against you, when bills pile up, when conflict arises, when fear whispers in your ear. In those moments, your old programming tries to take over. You want to react, collapse, or return to the familiar story of powerlessness. But this is precisely where your practice matters most. Conscious manifestation is not about denying problems. It's about choosing which frequency you will respond from. Do you react from fear or act from coherence? Do you mirror the chaos or become the calm in the storm? Practical step: the pause of power. Here's a tool. Whenever life triggers you, don't respond immediately. Pause. Close your eyes, breathe once, and feel into your chest. This pause interrupts the automatic program. It gives you the space to choose your frequency. From that space, speak or act, not as a victim, but as the antenna you are. This may sound simple, but practiced consistently, it changes everything. The pause becomes the bridge between unconscious reaction and conscious creation, expanding the field. The more you live this way, the more your field strengthens. Relationships shift. People treat you differently because your frequency is different. Opportunities appear where none existed before. Synchronicities increase, guiding you toward paths that align with your chosen state. It's not magic, it's coherence. Like a tuning fork, your vibration influences those around you. You become a node of order in a chaotic world. And in doing so, you contribute not just to your own life, but to the collective awakening of humanity. The cosmic responsibility. There is no neutral thought. Every emotion, every focus contributes to the field of humanity. Fear adds weight. Compassion adds lightness. Your personal work is not only for you, it ripples out invisibly, touching lives you will never meet. This is why ancient traditions insisted on daily practice, why monks meditate, why shamans fasted before ceremony. They understood that tuning the antenna is not personal indulgence, it is service. By maintaining coherence, you help hold open the door for others to remember their own. A new way to see yourself. So, who are you, really? Not just a body navigating time, not just a mind caught in thought. You are consciousness expressing itself through the spiral geometry of DNA. You are the meeting point between the infinite and the finite. You are the observer who collapses possibility into reality. And every single day, with every choice, you decide whether to keep broadcasting the frequency of fear or to recalibrate toward creation, love, and unity. The old story says, you are small, limited, and mortal. The hidden truth says, you are vast, connected, and eternal. Both stories are available. Which one you live depends on which frequency you tune to. So I leave you with this. When you wake tomorrow, before you speak, before you move, before you look at a screen, pause. Feel into your chest. Choose your frequency. And ask yourself, am I waiting for life to happen to me, or will I broadcast the reality I choose to live? Because your DNA is listening, and so is the universe.